Hello again. I wanted to start off 2025 talking about something that I've thought about a lot during 2024. And I didn't want to do a this is the summation of what I did in 2024 video, nor did I want to talk about specifically things that I did do in 2024. Today I want to talk about starting and how starting has gotten me further than thinking about starting. You've probably heard the phrase just start many times, over and over, by YouTubers like me or self-help gurus, influencers, things like that. And as silly as it sounds, it is the best advice that I've given myself. And I'm not here to give it to you. I want to give it to myself in the future just to see how far I've come. Sometime near the end of the summer last year in 2024, I decided to take on a big project. I decided to make a feature film out of a series of short films in an anthology. While it is still being edited, the fact that we were able to pull it off, shoot all of these films in different locations with different scripts, the fact that we were even able to get organized enough to do it is a miracle. That's something you'll hear a lot in filmmaking, that anything getting done is a miracle. There are so many moving parts, there are so many people to pay attention to, their wants, their needs. It's a lot, but that's not specifically what I want to talk about. I want to talk about what I've been working on as of late, and I want to talk about plans for 2025. And it all starts with starting. And you've probably heard this before. You've probably heard just start, or the first step is starting. And I know it's a lot more complicated than that for a lot of people, but it is the single most important piece of advice I can give to you and to myself. Even making this video, even making a YouTube video about starting, required me to start starting. So start. In December 2024, I just noticed that I made 3 short films. And they're not very long or complicated, but I made them, start to finish. They were simple scripts, simple ideas, executed, completed, and uploaded onto my YouTube channel. And that's that, I made them. Now I can show people that I made films. I made 3 short films in 1 month without a whole lot of planning, just a lot of executing. That's a hard thing to do. It's really hard to just do something and complete it. And the more time in between deciding on doing something and when you actually execute it, the less likely it's going to get done. So my partner Ashley and my friend Mark and I have been coming up with this idea where we write a 2 or 3 page long script, spend no more than a day writing that script, and then film it and spend no more than a day both filming it and editing it. It's like one of those 24-hour or 48-hour film festival challenges. But the only pressure or the only people that are going to hold you accountable to that are yourself and the results that you have. We made a Christmas movie, we made a 90s style thriller, and then we made a very bleak look into a post-apocalyptic future. And we did all of those in a single day, each of them. And I'm so proud of us that we actually were able to complete them. We have really embraced the constraints that we have. And they're not constraints like, I have a camera, I have lenses, I have a microphone, I have a computer to edit. It's not those type of constraints, because without those things, it would become infinitely more difficult. But the constraints are, we don't really have a crew, we don't have professional actors, we don't have crazy locations or crazy special effects, but we have us, and we have our own ingenuity, and we have our ability to adapt and be able to move on something quickly without overthinking it or without running into hiccups that we can't overcome without just slightly changing the script or slightly changing our approach. And in doing that, we are able to build momentum. And that's something that's really hard to do in any creative endeavor, whether it's writing music and playing music or starting to paint, starting to sculpt. Making films requires you to have some type of pace so that you want to continue doing it, so that those hardships, those things that you have to overcome are worth it, because the next thing is about to start and you better be there because it's exciting to be there. finishing one project leads to you starting another project, and once you have that momentum and once you've set that pace, you want to continue doing it over and over and over again. There's a high, some people call it a bug when you're making films. You've caught the filmmaking bug. It makes you want to do it. It's like a drug, but it's a drug that comes from within. A piece of advice that I would like to give myself maybe 10 years ago would be to find like-minded people who help support your vision and whose vision you would like to help support. It's like not everyone can be the lead in a film. Not everyone gets to be the director, or not everyone gets to hold the camera or set up the lights or frame the shots or whatever. The advice that I would like to give to myself 10 years ago would be to find people who can support what you do, but who do not specifically do only what you do. Something that I haven't specifically struggled with, but because of X, Y, and Z was a result of, is showcasing my work. I've never shied away from showing somebody a photo that I took that I was proud of, or a film or an interview, a documentary, something that I like, something that I enjoyed. I've not had an issue showing people, but because a lot of projects did not get completed, because a lot of projects were on the sidelines or waiting for something to get done before the next step can happen, a lot of those projects got kicked to the wayside, and I didn't have anything to show except for maybe some screenshots or maybe a trailer for a piece. And that can really deflate you. That can really take the wind out of your sails. Because, like I said before, pace and momentum is what's going to allow you to continue to create. Once you start working, work just keeps happening. Or the more you work, the more you work. This is something that I think about a lot and I talk about a lot, is the concept of killing your darlings. Being able to step back from something that you had written or something that you are directing or filming and allowing yourself to realize that this piece that you're working on is not the greatest thing that was ever written or was ever filmed or will ever be filmed. Being able to go, hey, I'm doing this because it's fun. I'm not doing this because it has to be perfect. Will get you a lot further in getting closer to that idea of perfection. But you can't be perfect right out the gate. You simply cannot. And that's what holds a lot of people back. They hold on to their scripts or to their stories or to their filmmaking or editing way, way too close, so that there's a fear that if this thing is not the best thing ever, I don't want anyone to see it. And it's a really hard thing to get over. So that concept to kill your darlings, to just let go and create, has really, really helped me. It's helped me become a better filmmaker because it's made me have to adapt. It's made me have to change a script on the day of, and that's not something that just happens in small pictures. That's something that happens in $200 million films. You'll hear about something like Gladiator, how they were literally writing it on the day of. And that's amazing because they had an idea, they had a concept, but they only liked 20 pages of a 200-page script, so they got rid of it and they just kept writing. And they wrote what works. And they adapted and they overcame and they made a memorable, enjoyable film that lots of people herald as their favorite film. And finally, simply, filmmaking is telling stories. And telling stories should be enjoyable in some way. There are 3 ideas that I like to come away with when I'm on set or when it is my project. There are 3 ideas that I really want people to have when they leave a set or when they finish that project with me. And the first one is that whatever you're doing on set, it should be rewarding in some way. You should be rewarded by doing whatever role that you're doing. There needs to be respect. You need to feel rewarded. The second one is, if it is a difficult shoot, if it is long hours, if it is hard work, and maybe you are feeling down on yourself, or Maybe you are feeling like you've been pushed up against a wall, or maybe your ego is bruised. That the culmination of what you've worked on, all of that hard work, it is something greater than what you've put into it. So number 2 is, I want anyone who's worked on a project with me to believe that the end result is worth all of that hard work. And of course, number 3, if you're not feeling rewarded on the day of, and you are not feeling like your hard work is worth it after the fact, at least, number 3, is that you're having fun. You are just simply enjoying yourself. Maybe filmmaking is not for you, or maybe you're doing it as a favor. Maybe we couldn't find an audio person, so you're just there holding a boom pole for the first time in your life, pointing it at people who are talking. I hope that you are at least having fun. This last part is advice I'm giving to myself so that when I watch this video later, I'm going to feel like the end result was worth it. And that's, just keep doing it. No matter how many people are watching it, no matter how many people like it or dislike it, do it for you. Just keep doing it, because at the end of the day, your own voice is your voice. No one else is going to have that voice. No one else is going to have that perspective. If it is important to you now, make sure that you are setting it up that it will be important for you later on. And another piece of advice that I want to give to myself is to just tell the story. That's what you're there to do. Don't get so caught up in the equipment that you're using, or the locations that you have, or anything that could get in your way and prevent you from doing it. Take a step back, allow your ego to dissolve a little bit, and just tell the story. If you have to change the location from a bar to a car, if the story remains the same, just tell the story. If you don't have that bar anymore and you have somebody's living room, adjust the script. You're there to tell the story, and if it doesn't change the story, you're doing pretty well. And if you have to change the story, don't worry too hard about it, because this is just one film and there are thousands among thousands of stories to tell. There are still new stories to tell. And finally, thanks for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing if you're into this type of thing. And until next time, adios.